Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Today is a little bit different. I just saw the, within the last 30 minutes to 60 minutes, the champion reveal for Ornn, the fire below the mountain. This is his ability reveal that was just released, and I'm not gonna lie, there is some, I want to talk about it a little bit, because there's some kind of serious implication that I saw just based off of his abilities alone, and there's some certain things about his abilities that I think are like, they could really be abused to like the ends of the earth. And I want to see. So first of all, when I first saw him, I saw this video of him. I'm going to put it on screen for you now. This is the video that I saw, and it was just kind of like your Facebook video, I think, that RIOT put out. Basically just over a big view of all of his abilities without really discussing it too much. And yeah, it's a really cool video. There's a lot of cool abilities that are potentially going to be coming out from him. But some of the implications are a little bit interesting. And that's what we're going to talk about today. It's not going to be a tremendously long video. We're not going to like go too hard into it. But let's have a look at his abilities. So first of all, the one that I am the most worried about, or the one that I think is the most interesting at least, is his passive Living Forge and Master Craftsman. Now this says he can spend gold to forge items for himself at any time when he's out of combat. For convenience, suggested items appear in a special on-screen menu. Basically, he can go to the shop anywhere in lane. It's bizarre. He has also got special upgrades for selected items in the shop for each player. They're only allowed one upgrade. This is kind of a big deal. If they're going to have to like redo a lot of things on a lot of different items, I wonder what items it is going to be. Could potentially be the hex deck items or something, because it kind of fits in with the lore that they are crafted items and not just like magical weapons. However, like the ability to shop anywhere in the game is one that I think is like the most fucked up and the most potentially broken thing. We'll go over his other abilities first before we go back to that. So second of all, his Q is his Volcanic Rupture. Basically just slams the ground, sends out a fissure that deals physical damage, slows enemies after a small delay at magma pillar forms at the target location, functioning like a tiny wall. So it's not the greatest ability on paper. It doesn't look like the greatest ability. However, it's supposed to synergize a little bit more with his E, which will come a little bit on. So we see this little wall come up. It's basically going to be something that synergizes with his other abilities. So W as well, Bellows Breath. Ornn becomes unstoppable, shields himself and belches out flames. These flames deal a portion of the enemy's current health as magic damage. Enemies struck by the final gout of flames become brittle. And the brittle is that any immobilizing effects when used on a champion that is affected with brittle not only deal a portion of their maximum health, as well as they get stunned for longer. This is a little bit questionable, and it's a reason why I think that Ornn might be a decent champion. I know he's been designed as a top laner, but I feel like there's a little bit of potential for him to be a support as well, based off of just like this ability. Now just, can you fucking imagine, right? So you get dropped with Brittle. This champion overview doesn't mention anything about the fact that there's cooldowns. So let's say you get stunned once whilst you've got Brittle on you. Does the Brittle debuff go away, or does it maintain on you for a certain amount of time regardless of how much CC you take? Because if it is the case where you can be CC for longer every single time, I do believe that it would be, I think it's going to get like, I think based off this image, based off this video, I think that it's only one. And I hope to God it's only one, because if it's more than one, there's going to be some trouble. And I don't even know the cooldown in this W. It could be really quite low. And especially the fact that it makes him unstoppable, gives him a shield. Tank meta is about to get fucking interesting. A little bit more interesting. But like, it's going to make champions that maybe aren't necessarily played all that much a little bit more viable, because they'll be doing a little bit more damage. Like, I know, like Leona and stuff, which supports you don't necessarily see all that often. It's going to make champions like Maokai ridiculous. Just even more damage, like, that they can dish out as well, and make stuns last longer. This can hit every member of a team as well. So if you hit every member of a team with Gout, and then Leona drops a Solar Flare or something, or Maokai uses Nature's Grasp, you're going to have a full team of people stunned for a lot longer, and they're also going to take a shit load of damage. It's going to be disgusting. So his E is mostly just an ability that's going to synergize well with his Q. So it's called Searing Charge. He charges at the enemy, dealing damage to champions he passes through. If Ornn collides with terrain while charging, it creates a shockwave, deals damage, knocks up enemies. So, and it's going to be an ability that it's going to synergize pretty well with champions like Yasuo and stuff as well. If he hits the terrain, so obviously he's hitting a wall, so you don't really want to go near walls when you're fighting Ornn, but it also synergizes really well with his Q, which we saw a little bit earlier. So he can use that same thing. I think it also explodes and does extra damage if you hit that magma pillar. But yeah, it's pretty standard, good gap closer, as well as a knock up, which is going to be absolutely fucking disgusting if you happen to have Yasuo on your team. But his ban rate's pretty high right now, so we can only hope that he maintains that ban. His ulti as well, Call of the Forge God. It's actually pretty cool looking, and the size of it is incredibly worrying. So like, look at the size. This is almost like, it's like 66% of the lane is covered by a massive ram that just like barrels down the lane. So it comes towards you at first, and then once it reaches you, you can cast it a second time to knock it back. You can redirect it. It doesn't necessarily have to be cast in the direction that it comes from. So if enemies reposition themselves, you can reposition it as well. This is going to be an ability that either is a fantastic engage or a fantastic follow-up on anything. Like, and the fact that it comes from behind enemies. So if you're team fighting, if your team are positioned like around this region, and like you're about to start team fighting, and you bring something coming in from behind that is not like a teammate, that cannot be damaged, it cannot be stopped, it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. But I think it's an interesting character, and I know that he's been created as a top laner. I know that Riot are desperate to like completely wedge people into these certain roles, but I'm interested to see if he could potentially have like decent bot laning like as a support. Because, honest to God, his passive, Living Forge and Master Craftsman, I think is disgusting enough that it would be entirely abusable. So, if you can buy pots, and if you can buy, like, wards, and if you can buy items that help you sustain better in lane, I think, there might be an issue. This is, like, the exact reason why Riot removed the 9 pot limit. There used to be a limit on League of Legends. I don't know if you realize, or if you know. Basically, the idea was, health pots were like really disgustingly broken, and there wasn't really much of a limit on what you could buy. There was no limit on what you could get in terms of pots. You could fill your inventory full of pots if you really wanted to, and however, obviously they cost 50 gold, so the most that you could get when you started a game was 9. So what top laners used to do was they would just, if you're playing Garen or something, you would just buy 9 pots, head to lane, and it didn't matter that you didn't have stats, because you just had so much sustain that you could just beast mode absolutely anybody with just sheer force of will. And that's obviously like a thing that's been changed now. But let's imagine Ornn is fighting in lane, he's just farming away, getting harassed, kind of like he's still dealing damage back, then he just backs to his lane. He doesn't TP, he doesn't go back to base, he just buys a couple extra pots, walks back into lane, continues to fight on. Oh, he gets harassed again, it doesn't matter, all he has to do is kill a couple minions, walk back, get a couple pots, come back, and it's just like an endless cycle of coming back and buying pots. And I think if pots are buyable with Ornn's passive, this could be nasty. Like, this could be a nasty thing. He can also upgrade his abilities, upgrade other items for his teammates. That's kind of interesting, but my main concern lies in this passive, and I especially considering the fact that this guy can become unstoppable. He can shield himself. He does percentage of max health damage, as well as that, like, he can do knockups. He's got a decent amount of CC. All of these things are like a culmination of things to make a really horrible tank. And I was just like, just when I thought we were getting out of like the really horrible tank meta, when I was like, okay, but like lethality is really bad, but it sure as shit beats the tank meta to death. This Harbinger of Death comes back, and suddenly every single thing that makes the tank meta garbage and makes it really annoying to play, your max health damage, your like CC, or in this case you're supplementing CC to make it a lot stronger, your sustainability. Oh god, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I mean, he looks cool as shit. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, this ram looks amazing. It looks fantastic. The champion, I really like the aesthetic as well. It reminds me of, like, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of I can't remember where it is in Dark Souls. It's in the first Dark Souls. There's just, like, the blacksmith that's, like, in the tower. Like, I mean, it's just your standard, like, dwarven blacksmith, but it's an interesting character. I really like him. I don't think we have enough, like, fiery characters as well in the game. Still, though, I'd really love to know your discussion, and I know this isn't like a really like edited or scripted video, but it's a very hot topic right now, and it's going to become a hot topic, so I'm really interested to know what you think about this character, and discuss what I've mentioned in this video as well. Like, do you think the fact that you'll be able to back and buy items at any point in the game is going to be something that's really abusable? Because I certainly do think it might be. But yeah, let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Sorry it's not completely edited. I am actually working on other videos and other stuff. Guess what? My PC is fixed. I'm not back at home yet, but my PC is fixed, and I'll be back making like really highly edited videos very soon for you guys. Thank you so much for watching though. Have a good one. See you tomorrow. Take it easy.